Life in the vanished village. To truly understand the mystery of the medieval village, it is important to imagine what life might have been like there before it vanished. Life in a medieval village was harsh but tightly knit. The villagers followed a strict daily routine dictated by the seasons and the cycles of the sun. Farmers woke at dawn to till the fields, plant crops, and tend to livestock. Blacksmiths and craftsmen worked tirelessly, forging tools, repairing carts, and creating weapons for local defense. Children learned trades from their parents, while the elderly shared stories, wisdom, and folk traditions. Market days were lively, filled with the chatter of bartering, laughter, and gossip. Despite this seeming normalcy, the villagers held certain secrets, rituals, forest gatherings, and customs that outsiders never fully understood. It is these secrets that have fueled centuries of speculation and legends. Theories about the disappearance. Historians and theorists have debated what could have caused an entire village to vanish so completely. Some of the most popular theories include 1. Disease or plague. Some believe that a sudden, unknown disease might have forced the villagers to flee or caused mass deaths. However, the absence of bodies or mass graves makes this unlikely. 2. Curses and superstition. Medieval Europe was a land of superstition. Some legends claim that the villagers were cursed by a nearby monastery for breaking sacred rules. The curse supposedly caused them to vanish from the earth entirely. 3. Forest spirits or mystical forces. Local folklore often attributes unexplained events to spirits, demons, or other supernatural forces. Some suggest that the forest around the village claimed it, pulling the villagers into another realm. 4. Kidnapping or war. Another theory is that invaders or bandits kidnapped the villagers. But no historical record exists of attacks on the village, and no neighboring settlements reported conflicts during that period. 5. Natural disaster. Floods, landslides, or fires could have destroyed the village, but archaeological evidence shows the village structures remained intact, suggesting no sudden disaster occurred. The village in legends. Over centuries, the vanished village became the subject of countless stories and myths. Travelers in the 1600s reported hearing faint whispers in the forest, strange lights, and shadows that moved between trees at night. Some believed the villagers were not dead, but transported to another dimension, forever trapped in a mysterious limbo. Even in modern times, the story inspires writers, historians, and filmmakers. Books and documentaries explore the mystery, blending fact with legend, but the true story remains elusive. Modern discoveries. Archaeologists who visited the site discovered overgrown ruins, broken pottery, and rusted tools, all of which hinted at life that once thrived there. Yet no human remains were found, adding to the intrigue. The village is slowly being reclaimed by nature, its secrets buried under centuries of forest growth. Visitors today often report an uncanny feeling, as if the forest itself holds the memory of the vanished village. Shadows and whispers in the wind keep the story alive for anyone willing to believe in the unexplained. Why this mystery captivates us? The story of the vanished medieval village captivates because it combines elements that humans are naturally drawn to. Curiosity, what happened to the villagers? Fear, the idea of an entire community disappearing overnight is unsettling. Mystery, no records, no bodies, no explanation. History, the vanished village reminds us that the past is never fully known. The blend of history, mystery, and supernatural speculation ensures the story remains relevant, inspiring generations to explore and imagine. Conclusion. The medieval village that vanished without a trace remains one of history's greatest mysteries. Its story reminds us that not every question has an answer, and some secrets of the past may never be uncovered. As centuries pass, the village may fade from memory, but legends, whispers, and ruins keep its story alive. Perhaps it vanished because of a curse, a disaster, or something beyond human understanding. But one thing is certain: The forest remembers. The medieval village that vanished without a trace is one of history's most enduring mysteries. It challenges historians and fascinates storytellers because it defies logic, leaving only ruins and speculation. Perhaps some mysteries are meant to remain unsolved. Perhaps the villagers were taken by forces unknown, or perhaps history simply forgot them. One thing is certain: the forest remembers. As you walk through modern landscapes that were once home to thriving communities, it's worth remembering that the past is filled with secrets, some of which may never be revealed. The medieval village that vanished without a trace. History is filled with fascinating tales of kingdoms, battles, and legendary heroes. But some stories remain shrouded in mystery, whispered about by the curious few who dare to explore the forgotten past. One such story is that of a medieval village that seemingly disappeared overnight, leaving no trace of its existence. The village and its time. The village existed during the late 1300s, nestled between dense forests and rolling hills. By all accounts, it was a peaceful, thriving community. Farmers tended their fields, children played in the streets, and villagers celebrated festivals with zeal. Life, for most, seemed ordinary, quiet, yet content. But there was something unusual about this village. Travelers passing by often remarked on its eerie silence. Smoke rose from chimneys in the morning, yet no human figure was ever seen. Even nearby communities sensed that something about the village was off. Daily life before the disappearance. Despite the normalcy of their daily lives, the villagers had a mysterious tradition. Every month, on nights with no moon, villagers would gather deep in the surrounding forest. Outsiders never learned what these gatherings entailed, but whispers of strange chants and rituals spread among neighboring towns. It was clear that this village held secrets, ones that were not meant to be uncovered by outsiders. And yet, no one could have predicted the event that would render the entire community invisible to history. The vanishing. One morning, travelers and merchants noticed something terrifying. The village was completely deserted. Dogs roamed the empty streets. Smoke still curled from chimneys, and meals remained untouched on tables. The doors of homes were locked from the inside, but no one answered. Attempts to enter the homes yielded nothing. No villagers, no footprints, no signs of struggle. The village seemed to have vanished mid-task, mid-conversation, as though the earth had swallowed it whole. Historians and officials rushed to investigate. They scoured the area for clues, examined maps, and interviewed nearby residents. But no explanation could be found. The village had simply disappeared, leaving behind only abandoned structures slowly being reclaimed by nature. Legends and theories. Over the centuries, various legends arose to explain the village's fate. Cursed by a monastery. Some claimed the villagers had broken sacred rules and were cursed by monks, causing them to vanish. Portal to another world. Another popular theory suggested that a mysterious portal had opened in the forest, whisking the villagers away. Plague or disease. Some historians speculated that a sudden outbreak forced the villagers to flee or perish, but no graves or records confirmed this. Despite these theories, no concrete evidence has ever been discovered. Archaeologists visiting the site centuries later found only ruins slowly swallowed by the forest, with no trace of the people who had once lived there. What remains today? Today, the site where the village once stood is covered in dense forest. Occasionally, relics such as broken cups, rusted tools, or fragments of pottery are discovered. These remnants hint at the lives once lived, but offer no answers. Tourists and historians alike visit the site, hoping for clues, but the village keeps its secrets well. The vanishing village remains a chilling reminder of history's mysteries. It challenges our understanding of the past and reminds us that not all stories have endings, and some truths may never be uncovered. The enduring mystery. The medieval village that vanished without a trace continues to intrigue scholars, writers, and curious travelers. Its story has inspired countless theories, legends, and creative retellings, yet the truth remains hidden in the fog of history. Perhaps some mysteries are meant to remain unsolved. Perhaps the village was a warning, or perhaps it is simply one of the many secrets the past holds, waiting for someone to uncover it. One thing is certain: the forest remembers, even if the villagers do not. The medieval village that vanished without a trace. Extended story. History is full of extraordinary events, but some stories remain beyond explanation, defying logic and leaving a sense of unease. One such tale is of a small medieval village that simply disappeared, leaving behind abandoned homes, overgrown streets, and centuries of unanswered questions. The village in its prime. The village existed in the late 1300s, located deep in a valley surrounded by dense forests and rolling hills. It was a quiet settlement with cobblestone streets, wooden cottages, and a small market square. Life in the village appeared normal on the surface. Farmers cultivated their crops diligently, blacksmiths hammered iron into tools and horseshoes, and children played freely under the watchful eyes of their parents.
Open the door.
Villagers
now.
celebrated
Yes,
festivals with joy, lighting
Inside,
bonfires,
quickly.
singing traditional song. But beneath this calm, the village had a reputation. Travelers passing by reported an unusual stillness. Smoke rose from chimneys, but the streets were often deserted. At night, faint lights flickered in the surrounding forest, and eerie chanting could sometimes be heard from the woods. Outsiders avoided the village, fearing superstition and rumors of secret rituals. Mysterious traditions. Every month, the villagers reportedly gathered deep in the forest during the night, performing rituals no outsider dared observe. Some accounts suggest the villagers chanted cryptic phrases or held ceremonies that connected them to ancient beliefs, predating even the church. These midnight gatherings were never documented in official records, but oral legends hinted at something extraordinary, or perhaps dangerous, happening within the forest. Could these traditions be linked to the village's eventual disappearance? Historians remain uncertain. The day everything changed. According to surviving accounts, the first sign of disaster came one morning when travelers noticed the village was unusually quiet. Dogs roamed alone through the streets. Smoke continued to rise from chimneys, but no voices responded to the sound of footsteps or knocking on doors. Those brave enough to enter the homes discovered a chilling scene. Meals left unfinished on tables, tools scattered mid-task, and doors locked from the inside. No signs of struggle, no blood, no evidence that anyone had fled. It was as if the villagers had simply vanished into thin air. Historians note the eerie perfection of this disappearance. Even animals such as farm dogs or cats seem to have been left behind or wandered aimlessly. The village became a ghost town overnight. Initial investigations. Officials from nearby towns and feudal authorities arrived to investigate. They expected to find some clue, perhaps disease, conflict, or mass exodus, but they found none. Maps and surveys were taken, interviews conducted, and every building inspected, yet the village remained mysteriously empty. Rumors began to circulate. Some said the villagers had been cursed by a local monastery for breaking sacred laws. Others whispered that the forest spirits had taken them. A few suggested an unknown disease struck swiftly, leaving no survivors. But no graves, records, or physical evidence supported these theories. Theories behind the disappearance. Over time, historians, folklorists, and conspiracy theorists have proposed multiple explanations. 1. Curses and superstition. Some believe the villagers offended a nearby monastery or a local noble, and a curse was cast upon them. Medieval Europe was deeply superstitious, and many communities attributed unexplained events to divine or supernatural punishment. 2. Secret portal or mystical phenomenon. A more fantastical theory suggests that a portal opened in the forest during one of the villagers' midnight rituals. This portal supposedly transported the villagers to another realm or dimension. While there is no scientific evidence for such a phenomenon, local legends keep the story alive. 3. Plague or disease. Another plausible explanation is a sudden outbreak of disease. Medieval Europe was no stranger to deadly plagues, and a fast-acting illness could have decimated the village. Yet historians note the absence of bodies or mass graves, which would normally follow such a catastrophe. 4. Mass migration or kidnapping. Some theorists suggest the villagers were forcibly taken by an invading force or bandits. However, no historical records mention such an attack, and neighboring settlements reported no conflicts at the time. 5. Natural disaster. Floods, landslides, or forest fires could have destroyed the village, but archaeological evidence indicates no such events. The ruins were intact, with no signs of sudden destruction. Legends that persisted. Stories of the vanished village have persisted for centuries. Travelers in the 1600s claimed to hear faint whispers in the forest, suggesting that some villagers' spirits were still present. Others describe flickering lights and shadowy figures appearing at dusk, fueling speculation that the village was never truly gone, but hidden in some supernatural state. In the 1800s, a group of scholars attempted to locate the village using maps and oral histories. They found ruins slowly being overtaken by the forest. Broken pottery, rusted tools, and weathered wooden beams were all that remained, offering tantalizing hints but no answers. Even today, tourists and historians visit the site, hoping to experience the mystery firsthand. Some claim to hear whispers in the wind or see figures moving between the trees, but these accounts remain unverified. Life in the village before vanishing. To understand the disappearance, it helps to imagine the villagers' daily life. Farmers waking at dawn to tend crops, children learning trades from their parents, craftsmen forging tools and blacksmithing armor,